time to start a meeting of the annual meeting of the owners. This is your meeting. So we'll have the, you had to call the roll. We don't have to do any of that.
Just announce how many we have.
Yeah, how many do we have?
Maggie?
Maggie?
301.
301, and we needed how many, John?
280.
280, so we have the magic numbers for our quorum.
Thank you.
Make this good. Thank you very much, Maggie. Appreciate it. And because we do not have any elections or board, we don't have to have any of that counting. They've all been taken care of. Proof of notice of the meeting, guys.
Notice is actually made 40 days, 60 days ago, according to statutory requirements.
Great. Okay, and you all received minutes of the meeting from 1 year ago. And I hope you had an opportunity to read it over. So at this point, I would like to have a motion to accept the minutes from the March 8th annual meeting 2021. Okay, we have a correction.
I'm not sure how the minutes are in the office, John, but the pages that were received in the board package on the second page, on the page 3, where you list all of the directors for 21, 22. There's a big gap in the middle where the palm tree directors and the lakeside directors are missing on the page.
Oh, thank you.
So
Okay.
we need to write in there palm trees, which are in my title and lakeside, Claire Dewhurst and Tammy Alvin to correct the minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you. So let me ask you, John, since these minutes come back up once a year, you bring them back up at the next board of directors meeting?
Well, yeah. Well, what the minutes I have that in there, so I don't know what happened. Okay, because what I have is Cookie and Roger and Leslie and Shannon and Steve and Dennis and George and Monica and Tammy and Claire and Barbara and Debbie and Sue and John and Richard. So I don't know what you got there. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have it to correct me? I don't have it correct me.
All right. Well, I thought we were just discriminating against you, Roger. I'm sorry.
No, I don't have it either. Claire doesn't have them.
Okay. Well, that's weird.
If they're there, that's good. Then we
Yeah,
don't need to
it's in
correct.
there. Okay, it's in there.
Okay, so we're gonna accept the minutes that you have as correct.
Anybody doesn't have it, let me know, and I'll make sure you get a copy for your files.
Okay, so do we have a second to accept those minutes?
Who made
Second by Claire.
the motion?
The motion, we didn't have motion, you corrected. Who has the motion that we accept the minutes?
I'll make it.
Claire makes it, and who seconded it? You seconded, great. Any discussion? We did have a discussion, correction. All in favor, please raise your hand. Everybody? So I'm gonna do this all opposed. Is there anybody opposed to this? That's probably a little easier. I think we're okay. We're gonna accept the minutes as John has. Thank you very much. Okay, we have a kind of a presentation today because I don't want to inconvenience the people who are coming into this presentation. I kind of talked, this is on our solar presentation. So Shannon, is this a point that you would like to have the presentation of the installation of solar panels for the owner's information?
I think that would be good.
She's not on yet.
She's not on
yet.
Okay. So the next thing then on the agenda, what time is it? 1:07, so we've got probably another 15 or 20 minutes.
You okay?
Am I okay now? All right. So the next thing we will do is we will have a report from me, your president. Okay. 2021 has continued to be a challenge based on the threat from our common enemy, the COVID virus. In March of 2020, the state went into a lockdown, and 21 months later, January 2022, the Wildwood Springs Board of Directors decided to hold our first combined public plus Zoom meeting to have a gathering of board members and residents in the same room, face to face, was wonderful. During this time of limited personal contact, our community has continued to renovate second floor entry slabs, reestablished the Energy Savings Committee, held committee meetings via Zoom, telephone, or in person, utilizing masks and social distancing. Additionally, committees were encouraged to meet on a regular basis and post the minutes to all meetings. Issues voted on by board members can now be found on Wildwood Springs website. Additional carport construction was tabled due to product scarcity. Electric ground straps continues to be a concern. Clusters I, J, the office, and the office road asphalt and drainage projects were completed. We had 2 security issues, a loitering issue and a homeless camp. Both were resolved due to the combined efforts of our manager, security, law enforcement, and you, our community. The association operation manual and the employee manuals are in the process of being updated. There is ongoing research regarding the implementation and design of electric vehicle charging stations. A plaque listing all former Wildwood Springs residents has been placed in the office. The Cluster Advisory Committee is revitalized and in the process of writing their mission to meet the needs of our community. A new product is being installed and will be evaluated as to the effectiveness in the sport of hard surface flooring in living rooms, dining rooms, and bedrooms on second floor units. All of these accomplishments are the result of the dedication and teamwork of our manager, office staff, employees, committees, board of directors, and a community committed to the safety and security of all residents. I want to thank each of you for all that you do, and hope you know how much you are appreciated. To let you know how important I believe each of you are, I would like to use the following analogy. Imagine Wildwood Springs is like a beautiful orange grove puzzle. You have to use your mind's eye a little bit. Imagine one of the orange grove puzzle pieces is missing. The puzzle is now incomplete. Please know, without you, each of you, Wildwood Springs is incomplete. You complete Wildwood Springs. God bless and have a good year. Thank you. Okay, next we have reports of our officers. So we'll go right through here.
Thank you, Sue. I just want to say to everybody that's here and in the board, thank you for the opportunity to be vice president next year. It's given me an opportunity to learn more about how the association is supposed to work, and also has given me an opportunity to learn a lot more about Robert's works. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Here I am again. You thought I was gone, but no.
When Leslie Jacobs moved from Sherwood to Springdale, she had to give up her position as a representative of Springdale. So I was appointed, And because Tammy no longer wanted to be secretary, I got that one too. So thank you, welcome back. And I'm so glad that we can do this in person. It makes it so much nicer. Have a wonderful day. Okay.
No?
Okay.
Well, I'm John West, as many of you have been doing the Zoom thing for time, so it's my first meeting in a while, and it's great to see faces. I'm kind of glad to do it. I didn't think I'd enjoy this, but well, I'm the treasurer. Now, what I do basically is kind of an audit of what John is the man, is the dollars and cents. We give him the direction and the amount of money to be spent on those types of items. And so I thought today, what could I talk about? I wanted to go as a owner. Well, basically, just some real round and quick figures about what we have done with the budget this year, and what we have done with our reserve, and so on. Our budget generally is around $2.2 million, and this year actually we had more income than we had last year, as opposed to our budget. The bottom line was because of the Christmas bonuses that you brought in to each one of our employees, etc. We had more money come in than we had budget coming in. But the bottom line is this: we had a lot of ups and downs this year in regards to our budget, based on a multitude of things. Some unforeseen, some that were coming along and still were. We were about $23,000 over in administration areas, specifically because of insurance. We'll be talking more about the insurance issue as the continues on. That is going to be one of our headaches this year also. We also have the electric repairs, which Sue talked about. We're having some electrical issues in regards to ground wiring, and had to spend $42,000 on it, of which we had not planned. The other item was that we're still being shown on our budget $5,200 from added time for our security during 2021 pandemic situation in our security. We had $4,200 added this year for pools and spa leakage, and that's all the bad news. The good news is we saved $30,000 in utilities. So we're going to be continuing to work on those little gems that are out there. How can we save money as opposed to spending money? We spent reserves this year of approximately $243,000. The slab repair was $86,000. Paving was $142,000. Tennis court fence was $6,000, and pool expenditure was $8,000. I think that's important because most of these are reserve units, and we are fully funded condominiums. So we do have these reserves set aside specifically for jobs. Now, in regards to the electrical repair, we did not, but we have contingencies for that type of thing in place. So that's how that runs. We've got, last but not least, insurance premiums. We'll be talking about those later on here today. That was what threw our budget off a little bit in regards to the administration, and it's going to come back and haunt us again in 2022. Thank you very much. I'll pass it. Any questions, by the way?
John?
Julia's online now.
Okay, okay, can you introduce it, please?
Okay. At a past meeting, there were questions raised about solar.
You have to use the microphone.
Hold it down.
There'll be a lesson on microphones.
I'm saying you get a mess. At a past meeting, questions were raised about solar. And as a result of that, and also to be able to introduce you to her, I've asked Ms. Julia Herbst to be with us today. Julia's list of credentials includes all sorts of studies, including landscape design, water quality, wind and solar energy. She is the Gulf Coast Program Coordinator for Solar United Neighbors. And our representative, we are a member of Solar United Neighbors, believe it or not. So Julia, we're just delighted that you could be with us today. Thank you.
Well, thank you for having me, and thank you for being a member of Solar United Neighbors. I'm happy to be here and answer your questions. For just a little bit of context, I'm actually in Pinellas County, so we have some active work down in Bradenton and a lot of great volunteers, so I'm sure you guys have heard a little bit about what we do. I know that the Condo Association has been working with us off and on about solar, rooftop solar for the association, for common areas, for heating the pool, for offsetting electricity costs. I also want to share any information for those who want to go solar on their own and answer any questions about that. What does that mean for a condo, any kind of prices? But I know you have a lot on you to get to in this meeting, so I have a few slides. I have something that I gave to Chris that could be shared as a printout. Just in the essence of time, what do you guys want to focus on? Do you want me to do a little blurb on how rooftop solar works, or do you have some questions I can get you right away?
I hope that you will particularly deal with the way that a condominium association can access solar energy and how that might work, plus open it up for questions from the judge.
Okay, great. Thanks. So just for the little bit of the mechanics, would it be helpful to share my screen for just a little bit of diagrams, and then we can see how this applies? Okay, hang on one second because I got a couple presentations. Let me just get the basics there.
Louder, maybe it might.
Yeah, let's try that.
Yeah, I know it's going to be hard to see. I'm on max volume here. Let's see if this one works. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right. Everyone seeing here okay? Just a picture of panels. This is a Bradenton home, actually. So just generally speaking, I am the program associate for Solar United Neighbors. So Solar United Neighbors is a 501c3 nonprofit. So that's why we're happy to here to support people interested in going solar, and we're not selling you anything. So we're a nice vendor neutral solar expert that isn't talking about utility scale solar or FPL or utilities. We're talking about people owning their own solar and using that as a financial incentive. So we are really a 501c3. We consider ourselves a community of people building a new energy system with rooftop solar at the cornerstone. So we are national. We're committed to consumer protection and education, and we're very active in 12 states, including the District of Columbia. So you're getting a full array of support behind this. So we really help people go solar, join together, fight for their energy rights. So I can try to answer your questions about going solar here. If not, share this information with your friends and family. Or also you can just join together. We have a lot of happy hours or listservs and a lot of community that can help you with any other issues if you're considering as your energy group, whether they're electric vehicles or insulation or efficiency, we can connect you with that group of concerned people. So generally, how does this apply to an individual home or a group kind of setting? Basically, we're experts in explaining how solar works. I'm sure you guys are pretty familiar with it. You have solar panels that are taking the sun's electrons, converting it into DC or direct current. Inverters in this system are really important pieces of equipment, and those convert it to AC that your home uses or your public building or your meeting room. That is actually connected and used. That electricity that is created is used generally and locally. It's opportunistic. So if you need the electricity and you're producing it, you consume that amount. And any excess that you might not need on a nice sunny afternoon, we're getting into peak production time in spring in Florida, goes out through a bidirectional, a two-way meter. And so these are all grid connected, grid tied systems, and that would flow to your next neighbor. So it might flow to one of the condos if you had something on your shared area and benefit your neighbor. They would be, that electricity would go right to the neighbor and you would receive a credit on your electricity bill. So that's that nature of net metering. And then they're all still grid tied. So when it's nighttime or your panels aren't producing enough, you're importing from the grid. And this is a seamless billing function between your equipment and the grid. That's at a financial benefit. So this little chart that I shared with you is really a typical residential system payoff that are system sizes. And we can talk about the benefits of this for someone who has a tax credit versus someone who doesn't, like an association.
If I could ask you to focus on condominium.
Sure. So how this applies to association would be similar pricing on a per watt scale, and it would be considered for things like associations often want to offset their pool building or their activity center or their shared common areas. So things to be looking at for that is, what's the metering? How much is your electricity use over time? Are you going to grow and change? So that electricity demand will determine how big of a system that you need. It's installed at a per watt size, usually depending on the equipment. And you want to look at a whole year overall. Now, currently there is an income tax credit, so homeowner associations have a much longer return on their investment, but they can still see a financial benefit over time. It's just that payoff time is a bit longer. So we're seeing on a typical, someone who has a tax investment, a return of investment of usually 7 to 10 or 11 years, depending on their usage. And that can be much longer depending on how much electricity they're using and how much they're being offset without that. These solar systems do last 25 and 30 years. So you have to look at the long run of the payoff over time in that scenario. Some other things you might want to consider if it is in the budget is your common areas to be used in an emergency? Would you like this to be functioning source of electricity for your community in a grid outage? And that would require backup batteries for storage. Those types of things are actually much more expensive. The price is coming down. So batteries don't save you money like the way the solar array would be by offsetting your bill, but that sometimes is a concern for folks who want to become a resource for their community after, say, a hurricane or a storm coming up. Another way that you can look at it, now this isn't for solar, but you might want to be looking at electric vehicle chargers. So if rooftop solar isn't a fit for you with the time it takes to pay that off, is electric vehicles a benefit that you want to provide to your owners, either on their own space or on their own parking, depending on how the parking is associated, or in general spaces? There's going to be a lot more demand for EV charging, and that has a really good return on investment. And we can help you with getting connected with some experts to start to research that along with your association rules. I'm actually going to stop sharing and just see what kind of questions we have so far.
Questions?
I have a lot of questions. But turn to the microphone and identify yourself.
You gotta push the button to turn it, change, hold it down until it's on.
This one?
Now, hold it until the light lights up.
All right, how's that?
You hear me?
Yeah.
Right, I'm Marion Huff, I'm in 532.
You gotta be right in front of the. mic.
Okay, I'm Marion Huff, I'm in 532. What do the owners get from this? Do we get a kickback? What do we get from it? And how much is it gonna cost us to begin with?
So for solar on a common area, you would be saving money on your electric bill on the common areas over time. So you'd have the balance of what the finance is, or if it's a cash price over time. So are you going to have a lower electricity bill, and how do you pass that on? Are you paying up front, and then you'll see savings over time after that is paid off? There's lots of different ways to work out the financing. That's something that would be better explained once you have a system size. I believe that Wildwood has shopped around and has several proposals. I know that you connected with Solar Source, and you tried to join the solar co-op, but
I have some more questions on my
Yes, lean on-
board than.
Did you lean on it?
I understand this is just for, understand that this is just for, the office, correct?
For now, no.
I'm seeing that it has some.
Currently, if I may, currently the project scaled and proposed is for the office and maintenance portion.
Okay, and then, my understanding is that pools and stuff won't be, in our condos will not be initiated at first, correct?
It's not on the table, Chris, that's correct.
Okay, and then, I understand to do this, we might have to, tear off the roof and do something for the weight of the solar panels, and how much is that gonna cost us? Plus, how often do you change the batteries? Let's see. How often do you change the batteries? How often do you change the other equipment? What happens when the solar panels break? We had solar up in Michigan, so I'm well aware of what solar can and can't do. And I'm well aware of the costs that it can bring up front. And my initial, but I guess, what I want to know is what it's going to cost us up front, and when are we ever going to see anything back? Because it's going to be a long time from what I understand.
I think you have very valid questions that everybody has interest in, and having some experience with it, you coming from with experience. However, right now, I think what you're asking is a little premature before the body, because we're still learning about it. There has been no proposal to put anything into the budget as of yet. As a matter of fact, the solar committee has been working to get the most feasible way to try to introduce this, but there's been no action toward funding or anything of that nature, as I understand it. So your questions are valid. They should be answered finally before it comes before anybody for a vote.
Okay, yeah, I just want everybody to be aware of all of the aspects, because there's a lot to consider. There's a lot to consider.
Good point.
exactly. It is an investment, and it's a long-term investment, and it involves, it's not just a roof. It's not just a static thing, because it's an operating system over time. Your questions are really, really important. So looking at your roof structure, when are you going to replace your roof? What's the condition of the roof is absolutely a really important question to consider. So because these last 25 to 30 years, you want a roof that has some life on it, or if you're thinking of replacing your roof, it would be an excellent time to consider solar at that same time, so that the life of the solar and the life of the roof can be more closely matched. If you really want to pursue getting some proposals and seeing what this would cost us up front, how can we finance this? What does this mean without the tax credit? What's our return? What are our savings? You also want to consider what if we want to go forward, if this is a financial win, and we need to remove it to make repairs on the roof, what is the cost of that to remove the system and replace it? That's something that you want your installer to do so that all the warranties aren't voided. And that's a question you need to ask up front.
No, I'm on mute.
Batteries?
Excuse me, we have a question from the neighbors. You need to unmute yourself.
Yes. I just have two basic questions. I'm wondering what your feedback is from Florida Light and Power. Is there like full cooperation for use and disuse and what have you? And those electric sources, possibly for each cluster, are they strictly electric or are they working on solar as well? And so that we could use those like a generator for backup emergency for the homes, individual condos?
Great question. So what I'm talking about right now is like the panels behind me are photovoltaic or PV, and that is to create electricity that your space or that meter uses instead of purchasing it from the grid. So there's our net metering relationship. There is a separate technology that I encourage you to look into is solar thermal or solar water heating. It's tried and true. It's very good savings, a very strong return on your investment of the payoff. So separately, that's a different technology that we're.
I do have one more quick question for the board. Do you guys have an estimated cost as to how much it will cost the owners? And if not, can you get it as soon as possible?
You know, not at that point yet. I mean, there's a lot of research that has to be done before they have, you will have that all the time.
And security phone number plus emergency 911. High efficiency motors and pumps have been installed in spas 3, 4, and 5, pools 2, 4, 5, and 7 to replace worn out equipment. They have been a bit expensive, however, they have longer warranties. After comparing month by month utilities, our electric bill decreased by at least $90 per month per new pool equipment replacement. New underground electrical lines were installed from the outer wall of our building to pool 7. All pools and spa beams have been repainted. 25 lounge chairs and loungers have been restrapped in the last few months due to Florida's hot weather conditions and our daily sanitizing. All furniture has been power washed and cleaned at least 2 times since our last yearly report and will be done again after the trees have completed their bloom cycle. The pool committee works hand in hand with our security team last summer to catch the sexual misconduct person. For our safety, security continues to monitor and remove individuals at our pools who do not have pool badges identifying them as residents and their guests. Our pools have once again passed the state of Florida. Our pools have once again passed the state of Florida Health and Safety inspection. We continue to monitor and upgrade our pools per the state statutes. Lastly, I would like to thank our pool. Lastly, I would like to thank our pool service staff for their fine job in keeping our
Looking great.
yeah.
I'm just gonna talk really loud. Let's see, our next one, we have Mr. Munson. Are you here to tell us about our security committee?
Yes.
Thank you. Good to see from you. He's there. He's supposed to be there.
So you know what his number is?
Yeah, I know his phone number.
Bottom right hand corner.
His phone number is.
I'm muted again.
Is that you, Jim?
That's me, trying
Oh,
to
I'm
stay
sorry.
unmuted.
I kept muting you. I apologize. Go ahead, Jim.
I think my wife would like you to learn that lesson that you know how
Yeah,
to
I'm
do
sure
it.
she would.
First of all, I want to thank the security team, the committee itself, John Dewhurst, Larry Thrasher, Pam Flanagan, Tammy Abul, and but specifically, I'd like to thank those eyes and ears that we enjoined and you shall still remain nameless of that pass information on to us throughout the course of the year. The biggest problem that we're facing today is, of course, the homeless situation. Within the past 3 weeks, 5 transients have been trespassed, and 3 out of the 5 have been arrested for outstanding warrants. Working in conjunction with the strip mall property owner, Mr. Jesse, we seem to try to get a handle on what's going on side of 43rd Street. Recent days, we have gotten word from the Florida Department of Law Enforcement that 2 individuals have been released from incarceration to addresses known as the Woods in 43rd Street and 37th Street in Cortez. Turns out that these 2 individuals are sexual predators, and our security officers themselves have information on them and keeping a close watch to make sure they don't encroach on our property. If they do, our sheriff's department knows. Sheriff Wells and all the patrol supervision personnel that are responsible for our area knows for a fact that we don't play games, that we will prosecute to the fullest extent of the law. That being said, we did have 1 major incident since last year. I wouldn't say 1 incident, I would say 1 major problem with 1 individual that made himself known. I'm trying to be delicate as I possibly can be, by exposing himself to numerous residents at pool areas on our property. Well, the good news is that he is still a guest of Sheriff Wells out there at Port Manatee, who's unable to make bail, and he's first court appearance was February 24th for pretrial. We do have owners that are witnesses, that are very good witnesses as to what this individual has done. And it's very disturbing that he did do this. It's not only our property that it took place at, it was other properties in the surrounding areas. But he is now a guest of Sheriff Wells. The biggest thing that we can do as owners is take responsibility for our own personal security. What I mean by that is, you're inside your unit or outside of your unit, please make sure your doors and windows are locked. You have property outside your units, such as bicycles or bicycle racks that are on cars. Please see that you can secure them yourself by bringing your bicycles inside your unit. As you all well know, that parking bicycles under a carport is against our rules, and we have made bicycle racks available to the owners. That being said, that's no guarantee that someone will come around with a decent bolt cutter to cut a chain or cut a lock. Turns out that if they can't cut the lock or cut the chain, they take the wheels, just to be spiteful.
but we are doing our best. Our security officers are on point. For those of you that have had a personal meeting with our security officers know that they are professional, they're courteous, they're kind, and they do their duties as we see fit and what we want for our security and safety here at Wildwood Springs. That being said, I'd like to have any of the committee members that are there present at the meeting, if they have anything they'd like to add, feel free to do so. Am I still there?
Any
Yeah.
comments?
Can you
Jim, excuse me, Claire has a question.
Jim, where are the bicycle racks?
Go ahead, Claire.
Hi. We don't have one.
Not all, so Claire, not all. But they're by the end of the carports. By the trash.
They're in the carports or by the?
No, on the outside, like the trash bin.
Okay, so if you don't have one in that area, what are you supposed to do with your bike?
Inside.
Okay,
Bring your bike in the house.
okay.
Any other questions? Thanks, Jim, we appreciate it.
Thanks, Jim.
All right.
Okay, one thing I just,
Stay pretty well. Stay healthy.
I
Mute me now.
There was still, one committee that we never did fill last year. Although I think we posted to John, that was the roads and infrastructure. There was, we had a resignation, John Hopper, we never filled that, so you might put that on your list if we want to refill that for next year. Never was filled.
Absolutely, and what that does is that works with road systems, parking systems, and drainage throughout the area. Anything that would deal with drains and things of that nature. I welcome anybody who would like to come on the committee, and obviously I work with.
All right, okay, now at this point, were there any questions on anything? I know you had, and I don't want to ignore that, although we have another presentation coming up quickly.
On that, it was,
All right, come on. On that, it was just real quick, because I have a lower, floor. But I also respect the owners that have the top units. I was wondering, I don't know how much this would cost or who would pay for it. What about blown insulation in between? Is that an option? Would that help? Would that not help? Just throwing it out there.
All right, it's a good point. What happens now is there's space between the units about 2 feet. Many of that is open, and they count that as a barrier and help sound, but something in there could help. Of course, insulation would work for both unit owners as far as your draft and things like that. So it should be looked at, I agree.
Yeah, because my thought is, well, I don't want to hear the noise, but I don't think it's fair that they can't have it where they want it either. I'm just trying to like do a neutral one.
good, thank you.
You're welcome.
Shannon, I forgot, I need an update
You just on the solar, I'm sorry.
Thanks all for listening to the informational report. The Energy Savings Committee did meet fairly intensively. We talked to 3 consultants. We looked at the paneling of the office maintenance building. We looked at electric charges. John managed to get us pumps that are energy savings and that account in part for the surplus in the budget. So we have been busy, and the basically the cost of units or the cost of solar has kept us from making any specific proposal at this point. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And did I all other committees have reported, correct? Great. Okay, is there any unfinished business? I don't think we have it on the agenda, but we don't have any, right, John?
No.
Okay, so we've done
The, solar panels. So we're gonna go into now the discussion of the insurance package. And I'm gonna turn that over to John. If you have a handout, I didn't even look. Was there a handout there at the, no? Okay, I'm gonna turn it over to the manager and you can ask questions. And let me just say something. This is really information just to give you some background. It's a bill we can't change, by the way. That's what it is. But it's to give you some questions. We will, the budget committee, I'm presuming, will start meeting either June or July. It's the only thing we're really going to be discussing is how we're going to pay, either an assessment or association fees or whatever. But to kind of let you know why this has happened with our insurance, why it's gone up, it's non-negotiable. I mean, you know, we have, but certainly I'd like you to know why. We have plenty of time, a month or two, that you can still get more information as to why this has happened, but it's something we can't change, but we certainly would like to help you to understand it. So I'm going to turn this over to John.
Thank you, thank you. Is it coming through? Yes? Okay, before I start that, a couple things. Number one, with the social committee, we want to remind everybody, April 9th is the spring fling. As those of you who've been there before know, it's a good time. And that's Saturday, April 9th at 3:30. That'll be by the green area by the tennis courts. Please come and bring some goodies to share with everybody. Correct, Sam? Yes. Okay. One other thing too, before I start, it's been a true pleasure, Sue, working with you this year. And I certainly appreciate what you've done to help the association. Thank you very much. Yeah. And finally, I guess I'm waiting for insurance. Finally, I'd like to say, I don't know what it's going to be like going to the board meeting without Debbie Alvey. Debbie's been on the board ever since I've come here, and the only one that's been on every meeting that I've been to. And due to term limits, she's retiring for a while. So thank you, Debbie. It's been a pleasure working with you. Insurance is very serious, as you all know. As John said earlier, our budget's around $2.7 million. 3 years ago, insurance was 11% of that budget. This year it's 19%. And that was when the budget was 11% was when the budget was about 2.6. So it's increased dramatically. The association has to protect you and your buildings and your goodies 6 policies. Obviously, there's a property policy, which is the most, and I'll go back to it. A crime policy, which protects for embezzlement and things of that nature from any banking institutions, management, or anybody else. That's protected up to $3 million. Directors and officers insurance, which enables them to do their work to protect them for actions they take, but for the association. General liability policy, that's the second largest that we have to pay for, because the protection for anything that happens in the pools and the roadways, and the slip and falls, anything of that nature. That policy has gone roughly in the last 3 years, 24,000 to 51,000. Just to give you an idea how crazy it is. And we have an umbrella policy for those incidents that could increase over the limits of, say, liability. And then finally, we have a storage policy for the gasoline that we have on and stored for the machines. In case it's called pollution insurance, in case there was a slip or a leak or something of that nature. But getting to the crux of the thing, 2 years ago, our total package cost $295,000. The majority of that policy, of course, is property. This year, through competitive bidding, the first time we were able to do so, unfortunately, there's no competitors. But we did get 2 quotes, which happened to be the same. 499,000, from 295 to 499. As you recall, last year, they told us, the insurance gurus had put in the budget, Tom works on, 12% increase. We did so, we should get 14% in. It came in at almost 19%. And that's why we were scattered last year to move monies around and things of that nature. This year, they said, well, if you put 18 in, you'll be covered. Well, the rates came in at 26%. That sounds terrible, and it is terrible. But when you divide the total cost of the insurance by the number of units, it averages about $985 a unit that you're paying sure the association. Your neighbors, Tidewater, they have 31 units, and they average that they're paying $1,875 a unit insurance. What's the other one? Spring Lakes, they're paying $1,325. In meeting with some of the people from Tidewater last week, Tom and I, or Steve and I rather, we found out that their quarterly rates are now $1,600, and they're having a special to make sure. So not only did we get a roughly 19% increase on the insurance itself, we also got almost an 18% increase in our building valuation. So when it hits, that's why you're talking about $499,000. I guess that's the good news. Bad news is, the bad news is that our budget for this year is $412,000. Their bill's $499,000. We're fortunate enough to have enough money in the bank to cover the bill, because insurance, if you were to pay insurance over a period of time, they charge 4% on the whole value. In other words, if you are paying $100,000, it would cost you $4,000 up front just to pay in over time. So the main thing is that we've taken care of the bill. We're actually paid $437,000 with $63,000 coming. Where does that money come from? Obviously, it doesn't come from air, but there has been a surplus of about $115,000 in the operating account, which will, of course, is being utilized to pay the bills. If anybody tries to sell you something else, they're gilding the lily. 806 is what's designed for condominium owners for their personal goods.
The electric company every now and then sends me letters that say that the wiring on the outside of the condo, you are not covered for. Are we covered for it through the association, or are we not covered? Is that some insurance that we need to have?
You do not need to have that insurance. Number one,
Stop sending it.
yeah, well, they send it every 3 or 4 years. You'd be surprised the number of people who sign up for it.
Yeah.
Now, that is something that your association is responsible for. As a matter of fact, both Sue and Steve has alluded to ground straps, and that's exactly what it is. The power comes in, your FP&L is in charge of the power coming to the transformer, from the transformer to what they call the handhold. And the handhold is split and it goes to each unit. That line is called a ground strap, or the line that they put in above it is called a ground strap when they do it temporarily. And so when that line fails from the handhold to the unit, that's the association's responsibility. And I mean, you can be insurance poor, you can buy extra, what have you, but don't forget, if you don't have an insurable interest, i.e. responsibility, you can have all the insurance in the world, but you're not going to pay off, because they'll sell you, in a private home, that's a different story, but in condominium, don't use that there. Finally, last thing, anybody understand what a loss assessment is? What happens is that, like our hurricane insurance is 5% deductible. Well, 5% deductible times $9 million is what, 450,000 or something of that, doing it right. If we had a total loss, everybody probably would be assessed 558 of 450,000. HO6s have what they call loss assessment that you can buy. You might even have some coverage. It's supposed to be fairly reasonable if you want to increase it. But if you are assessed for a loss, in other words, for deductible, if something comes in, buildings get demolished, they'll pay that, and you don't have to pay the assessment. My company managed Rico Bay Club out here west of here for years, and we had one small association that had two 12 unit buildings. They lost the roof on a small twister, and the bill just happened to come to 24,000. 23 of the 24 owners had loss assessment insurance.
Just to kind of tell you what goes on next, we will be here in this meeting unless there's anything else brought up. But then after this meeting, then the board will be having their organizational meeting. And after that, they will then have another meeting, which is their regular meeting that they have. So are there any owners' comments, first of all, before we close the meeting?
The sign out front looks wonderful.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes. Any other comments?
I just have one.
Certainly, come on up.
Hold the button until it turns green.
Oh, let me turn mine off.
Am I on?
Until the green light.
The green light?
Hold it till it turns green.
It's green.
Okay.
You have to be really close.
Really?
Swallow.
I probably talk about it.
I think,
Hello?
Yeah.
No? Hello? I'm just gonna go anyways. My name is Thad Jensen. I'm with 463 Palm Tree, but I also represent Drug Free Manatee. And I'm the outreach director for them. A conversation with John earlier this week. And one of the programs that we're launching is a Smart Options, and it's a senior medication awareness tree-borne treatment. And what we're doing is we're doing some listening sessions throughout the community in Manatee, but as being a resident in this HOA, I thought what a great opportunity to bring it into our organization. And what we offer is we bring in pharmacists from LECOM that have a conversation regarding medications and then also disposal of the medications and any questions that you may have. So I have some flyers, we have some upcoming dates, but we can also entertain an opportunity to come in for the residents of the HOA themselves. If you would like, I can also get this put on the website maybe, or we can send out a flyer, or I can have some flyers posted in the office itself. I can leave some disposal bags that we have that are free of charge for any resident who wants to stop in and get a bag for any medication disposal. As you know, the opiate epidemic is running rampant right now. A lot of us have family in town, and some of them are younger that may, I hate to say, may be interested in our medicine cabinet. We don't want them. So if there are ones that need to be locked up or ones that need to be disposed of, and we don't know how to get rid of them, we certainly have some opportunities for that. So I can leave a few of the flyers up on the table up there, and as I said, I'm a big resource, anything to do with this. So please, you can reach out to me or get me through Drug Free Manatee, and we can provide some services to help. There we go. And I'm already done. So, you go. Morning, Brian.
Thank you.
Can I say, maybe turn yours off so they can hear. Maybe, you know, it might be better, leave some at the table, but often if you leave some, give them to Maggie, so whatever's left, she can take to the office. And maybe Chris could put something on the webpage.
We'll get something put on.
Okay.
Absolutely. If you
Maggie's
give it to
already
me,
gone.
Maggie's gone, I'll take it.
Okay, thank you very much. And maybe Chris can take one and put it on the information on the web.
Sure.
So, and maybe we could do something up to spring 22.
Okay, that'd be great. Yeah, that'd be fun. Thank you.
That'd be able for our organization, our office, things and some education.
Oh, that'd be great. Okay, if you have somebody else, more comments, come on up. I'll turn mine off, you turn yours on.
Okay, well, this goes free. Okay, now can you hear me? All right, I've been watching everybody this whole meeting, so now I know how to do it. I'm Gina Smith, my husband and I, Charles Smith, own at 125 Pine. So, nice to meet you all, see people like, you come to by that. We've been owners for about 6 years, and we'll live here, it's our happy place. We're not full time, but we're back and forth all year instead of. So the reason I wanted to talk is I just want to mention a little bit about the homeless farm. Because we are in Pinehurst, on what I would call the west side of that 47th Street. So when we're in our lanai, even with the door closed, we hear them yelling. We hear a woman yelling, we hear kids sometimes, we hear like that thing. And that's even our windows closed. So. Okay, I'm gonna touch, So first of all, I do want to thank John, and I want to thank the city, and because I know you're working on it, and I did hear the complimentary, the comments about what is going on this year, but I just wanted to know there's definitely a still a big problem. There was a fire recently also behind Pinehurst that was homeless people that were trying to stay warm. There's somebody in our money still out there. Condo in their and out of their purse. And I know that was reported to the police and to God. So there's still issues. I just want to tell you personally, I'm a little bit nervous being there. I live on myself. I'm a little concerned about my personal property and the value of my personal property. The loss of value to my condo and the thought of having to sell because I feel that. So we don't want to do that. I just want to make sure and bring it to your attention. There's still big problems. The other thing is when I retired, I always made a bring a solution. Or a suggestion. So the only thing I want to say, I do, we're fighting down in Missouri. So I do know that the homeless people, it's not illegal to be homeless, right? However, there are some things that can be done if urinating, sleeping, littering, septic. So I know that John's working with the law enforcement because he says he would about that. The last thing is what I asked you today is looking for ways to help solve the problem. Continue to do that, maybe even with us in Pinehurst, because we're really the most vulnerable, I think, in Pinehurst A, because we're right there off the street. We see people come in sometimes, we have security, we call, we talk to the office, and we can't. Look into ways to solve the problem.
In fact, I mean, we are really limited in what we can do. I mean, as an association, let's be. The police can't do anything about it. I don't know what we can do other than possibly a wall, but that area is fenced with an 8-foot fence.
No.
Yes, it is.
No.
Yes, it is.
On 43rd Street in the corner, I can walk through.
On 43rd down.
From behind my unit.
I know it well. There's about 100 yards of fence. Some of it may be.
Not behind my unit.
Okay, I don't want.
I know.
Yeah.
There is limited chain link fencing, I agree.
Yeah.
It goes from behind that row of stores,
Yeah.
it's on Cortez,
Yeah.
and comes around the corner a little, but it does not go to where my unit is.
Okay, well, we'll look at that, okay? Because I was under the impression it was. We'll look at it.
But the chain link really doesn't.
No, I understand it, but there is a chain link that runs the whole length of the northern part of the property. And well, anyway,
But not, okay.
no debate, okay?
Thank
Because I don't
you.
need to do
Thank
that. Yeah, no, but she's right, but I talk to code enforcement at least 3 times a week. Maggie calls them almost every day.
If there's a child there, yes. That
I-
child.
Yes.
That's atypical, okay, but that
Yeah,
doesn't,
but there is one.
But if there is one, then child protection is.
well, that could help too.
The
But I
child's
mean,
not there all the time.
But to be there at all,
I know.
Somebody.
like, mom, they're all, something.
that is, most of it where they camp is FPL easement.
So where's the deal?
What's an easement?
Easy, and the county easement also,
Okay.
expand 43rd.
Right.
But it's rare that they're on our property itself from any camp leavings. Yeah, well, we put bayonet plants all along along our trail there, and that's helped a lot. But they're not really, they're not coming in on our property that much, but there's contiguous, as close as Chris and I are. But that's, you know, that's not our property.
Okay, any other comments? Yes, sir, you have comments, come on.
But everybody's correct. It's a real issue. No question about it.
Terrible. Yes, sir. Please identify yourself. I'm done.
My name is Charles Allard.
Hey, Charles.
126 Pinehurst Drive.
Of night.
126 Pinehurst Drive.
A little closer, just don't touch
In
it.
front of you.
Gotta get a little closer.
Closer. How about that?
There you go.
John, I only have one question in reference to what you were saying. Is it possible to contact Bill, see if you can, have them issue a no trespass, order for these people, so when the police come in, if they're there,
Good idea.
especially if it's properly signed, they can arrest them right up.
Yeah, the second, yeah, that's a good point. I will try to do that. We have registered most of them. So that's why when Jim was talking about 3 people got hauled away, they were second timers.
All right.
So when they come out the first time, they take their name. Everybody gets like dog. The dog gets 1 bite, not 2. Second time here, they haul them away. But they're there in 15, 2 or 3 days later. Same.
Is that true, even though the area is signed? Usually if there's a sign, that is the first one.
Yeah, and we have signs all along the exterior of our property. But a good point. All good.
He's saying you can.
Not for FPL.
Not for FPL, no, but on our property, we have signs.
But we could FPL put it on. Possibility.
Yep, yep.
Good suggestion, Charles.
Thank you.
Would you shut that off, please? Like, just hold it down till the green light goes off.
Mr. Flood is back here.
Yes, sir.
But the reason they're there, I think, I see them. The reason they're there is straight cover.
Okay, so, yes,
Leslie wanted to say something.
Okay, Ms. Leslie.
Unmute, Leslie.
Mike,
I did.
Leslie.
Go ahead, Leslie.
I'm trying. Can you hear me?
Yes.
You just muted again.
Okay. Now you can hear me? You
Yeah.
hear me now? You're killing me, killing me. Sue,
yes, we hear you.
I don't know if this, okay, I don't know if this is a problem with the churches, audio visual, but this meeting has been almost impossible for the Zoom people. And in fact, there are only 3 of us left. And the audio has been absolutely impossible. It stops, we don't hear anything, we're cut off. This is not a good meeting way to do things. And you've lost any owner who tried to do Zoom today has left the room, sister. And it's no way to have a meeting. And people, now my name is Leslie Jacobs and I live at 313 Springdale. And everyone who speaks should identify themselves so that people know who they are. So it's been a very difficult day for the Zoomers, and it's just a shame. And either the Wi-Fi at the church has to be improved for us, or we need to do something different. This is unacceptable sunshine law compliance. Thank you.
I can explain, we've been having major issues with the Wi-Fi system here. It's dropped our Zoom meetings probably about 7 or 8 times already. And we didn't have that issue at either the January or the February meetings. So I'm not sure what has changed, but my connection just keeps saying it's unstable, it drops, and these people are frustrated, understandably.
Well, I'm sorry, that's a shame to have that happen. I don't know if we have any control, but we'll have to just keep trying to do a better job at it.
We may be able to talk to the church.
Okay, thanks, Chris. Okay, any comments, anything we need to discuss at this point? Okay, so with that in mind, do I have a motion? Yes.
You may want to introduce the 2 new board members.
I'm going to.
Oh, okay.
When we close this
Oh.
meeting, I'm gonna ask the 2 new board members to come up. That would be Tiffany Conklin and Deborah Harder. They will be coming up and taking their place with the board of directors. Okay, so do I have a motion to close this meeting? Do I have a second? Yes. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Okay.
So move to close the meeting and have a wonderful organizational meeting and your next board. Have a good day. You're welcome.
I have forgotten both my password and my login. How can I start over?
I'll check your stuff, your username, and I'll send it to you, and you'll be able to create a new password.
I'm happy with both of them. I just don't know. I have 2 of them written down. I'm in unit 370. Can you contact me in some way?
Yeah, I can do that. The only problem is I don't know what your password is. I know what your username is, but we never get to see your password.
Okay.
So you may have to change it. I don't
mind changing. I just am not sure which one that works.
I will send you your username so that way you can get it. Yes.
I just wanted to say hi.
Oh, hi, Jane. Good to see you.
Good to see
How you doing?
Okay.
Good.
Knocking things off my to-do list.
Yeah.
Everybody was still here, but now he's probably hurt.
Confirmation promise.
Notice is posted according to statutory requirements on the 10th.
Very good. President's comments. Wow. Doesn't really prepare anything. Just sort of want to get this day over with. Welcome everybody to March's meeting. Did everybody have a chance to review the minutes of the regular February meeting and the special meeting on March 3rd? Yes. Have a motion to accept those minutes as written. Move to accept. And move to accept. I second. So those minutes are now accepted. Any objections? Now, okay. You better stop it. You have to bear everything for that. Is there anything you have to help me out now? Bring it. Alright. Let's see. Financial matters. Last question.
Well, we're doing pretty good based on the fact this is, as of February 28th, 2 months in, and we're way under budget. The administration's down approximately $7,400 under budget, and that's based on advertising expenses for later years. The building committee, I believe, so security is, no, building committee is down about $5,000, and based on no major repairs being down in the first 2 months. I'm sure that's because of materials, scarcity, etc. And last but not least, our utilities are up about $4,300, and that's based on the silver seasonal situation with gas for fuels and spas. Otherwise, we're in good shape. One. Any questions?
Accounts receivable.
Okay, accounts receivable, again, are in pretty good shape for an association this size. If everybody can hear me, I don't mess with the microphone. Okay, units that owe, not a full quarter, but more than 500, there are none. Four owners own 1 quarter. 1 unit owes 1 quarter. 3 other units have legal issues, and I'll go on to that. Unit 364, the Bank of New York Mellon Trust has foreclosed on the property and has title. Sale of the foreclosed property will be tomorrow. The bank is owed $267,331.22. So it looks like the bank will probably be the successful bidder on this particular one. And when they do, we will be able to get 1 year's maintenance fees in arrears. If somebody takes it directly, doesn't buy it from the bank before the foreclosure, and they buy it at the foreclosure, we get all our money back. But I don't think that's going to happen. Doesn't usually. Secondarily, also unit 762 has had both the lien and foreclosure filed. The anticipation is there's certain months of periods between the filings and when certain things can be done. The owners have been served, if you will, with the various papers, and it looks like that will go on the block sometime within the next 4 months. Now that one, the association will be very interested in purchasing because of the fact that the only thing that research has shown is what they owe us, which is somewhere in the neighborhood of $14,700 and 3 years back taxes. It looks like there's no mortgage on it. So that could be, if we can get the property with what we know now and turn around and sell it, that would be a very beautiful kick into the insurance fund, wouldn't it? Yeah. So that there could be a silver lining. Okay. And finally, 718 has a lien placed against it as they owe 2 quarters. They're always lagging behind. So we went ahead and filed foreclosure against them to get them. And of course, they'll pay any fees associated with that foreclosure action should they make the payments. But they're constantly in arrears, so we just went ahead and filed this time. Yes.
John, probably just out of curiosity, but places like the 364, et cetera, which has been and is in the midst of this process, do we monitor the insides of those places based on mold?
Yeah, we've been able to go look inside. The power has been left on, which is important. And so, yes. And of course, we had a complete mold remediation done on 762. So, yes, sir.
Thank you.
John, I would have just a quick question.
Sure.
Is it on? Can you hear me? Yep, turn to green. I tried it, didn't go. How about that? Well, let me just speak up. John, my question is, they, 364 owed us $9,400 plus. About how much of that will we get back?
If the bank takes it possession, we'll get 1 year's maintenance fees, which will be somewhere around $3,600, $4,000.
Okay, thank you.
Sit.
Thank you, John. Alright. Old business. Second floor slab renovation.
I think, Steve, you got ahead and talked about mostly at the report, but the most updated news is that Steve and I will be meeting with a contractor, Abbott Construction, Thursday morning to go over and to see if we can get a proposal to get this project off dead center. As earlier reported, we're not dissatisfied with venture builders. They're just so busy and have health problems that they can't do anything right now. So we're looking to get a second contractor to get this thing back online. There are 4 units that we want to do almost immediately due to unstable conditions. We've put in proper supports on 2 of the units, so there are no dangerous issues, but it's something we want to get done.
Operations manual, we're gonna put that on, so next meeting in April. Front entrance identification sign, by seeing the new sign out front. We even straightened up the 2 S's. My wife noticed that right away. I said, doesn't that look great on you? She said, yeah, but the S is on the end, of course. Jeff took it.
I might want to add to that that it's all done in-house.
Yes.
At a savings of at least 50% what it would cost to do outside. We're very fortunate that happened.
This is a great challenge.
Cluster advisor volunteers. We have.
Yeah, Phyllis had to, I'm sorry, Paula had to leave, but there's a scheduled meeting of the advisors at 11:30 Friday, this Friday, and that'll be posted tomorrow.
If you don't know who your advisor is, there is a cluster advisor list that you can get from the office or maybe on the website. If you don't know who yours is, come up.
Have they got an agenda yet, or?
I'm setting it tomorrow.
No, I'm not specific about their meeting, but what they're gonna do.
No, that's what I'm going to,
Oh.
yeah, you have some suggestions?
No, I don't, John. I just wondered if we have any objectives. that we
Yes,
wanna-
yes, oh yeah, it's going to be general discussion setup type of meeting, organizational type, like you just did. Yes, Mom.
On Sunday morning, when it was 40 degrees, I think our cluster advisors should cover our brand new plants. The sheets, so they don't die.
I'll bring that up for discussion.
All of ours.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did.
And
Yeah.
planted brand new ones.
It's a good point. It's a good point.
That'll help us.
The advisor said something about the local board members helping somewhere along. Yeah, I'll bring it up, but the duties are going to be varied. That's a good point, though. Okay.
We have cold days here.
Yes, we do.
Okay, next up is the spring plan.
Again, we already talked about it earlier, April 9th. It's fun. For those of you who haven't come before, we hope you can make it. The association brings out the hot dogs and the brats and sodas, beer, wine.
This time it's hot dogs, hamburgers, and chicken sausages.
Ah, no brats.
No.
And everybody suggested to bring a little dish on the side. Usually we have bountiful. Average about 150 people.
Yeah, It's a good practice too, I think.
Yeah.
I think I won a free catered dinner 2 years ago.
Sweet.
Okay. The issue of funding the insurance, but I think we're gonna take this up in the April workshop and discuss different ways, something that brings out. We can't do anything really for June, if there's any financing to be done.
Do we have enough money now to cover our current costs, John?
Yes, we have.
Just, but no, not touching the reserves. No, that would be illegal, or it had to be a vote of the owners to touch any reserves. So we're fortunate enough to have enough in the operating funds, but to handle the bill.
Okay. New business. Communication.
None this period, it's short time between meetings, really, so nothing communicated.
Newsletter.
Newsletter, well, newsletter is ready. What we could use is some volunteers. We searched how much it would cost to print the newsletter. First of all, we have to commend the newsletter committee. What they did, they sold ads and they got $550 worth of income. However, we went to Staples to get 150 copies stapled in color, and a 21-page newsletter was $950. So we said, no, I don't think so. And so again, we went to another producer printer who just prints, and they wanted $750. We figured that we can do it in-house for a little around $300. So that's going to happen again, but we use some volunteers. Many of it can be sent out by email, but it's the editor's thought, Barbara Carey, that people would like to get something in their hand to feel and touch and read versus on the email, and many people don't get the email. So we will have 150 copies available at the office as soon as we can get them printed, but it is complete. And as they say, put the bed in the trade.
What do you need about it?
Well, that's what, Maggie said she needed 3 or 4 helpers. And I said, to do what? Watch the machine copy? And she agreed that we probably don't need but 1 or 2 to help maybe collect and file and things like that, because the copier will collate, do both sides and staple, so that those functions won't be needed. I don't even know when she's gonna do it yet, but we're gonna try to do it soon.
Okay, next up, update when migration study.
Yeah, again, like the building valuation we just did, the state requires a updated wind mitigation study done every 3 years. Again, last one done 2018. What is it? It's a study that, well, I guess it's a study that proves what the roofs can withstand and do, and can they blow off, or how are they attached, and in what condition they're in. So we have to bring in an outside company to do that. There have been a change since the last time they did it. The change being that we put down the polyurethane coating. I'm trying to negotiate with them, see if we can get some reduction in the cost, because they did all the hard work till 2018 by coming out and going into each building and crawling space and things of that nature. Last cost was $4,500. And so I'm waiting for a price now, but we have to do it because it benefits each owner. You do get credits on your insurance with the right mitigation survey done. So we have to do it. So I would like to budget. I'm sorry, I don't have a figure. I can't even say it's going to be the same as last year. So let's just, if he comes in crazy, I'll try to find somebody else, but I'm trying to get it lower because he doesn't have to come here from Fort Lauderdale.
Do you need a motion for that?
Motion to it. Yeah, we gotta
We have to put in the
move
minutes.
forward. And I won't let the contract out if I'm uncomfortable, and I'll bring it back to you.
I move that we give John the authority.
Move.
Vote. I mean,
Other question, can we,
Great discussion.
can that be put onto the website? Because when I have an insurance review, I hate to call you guys, give me a hard copy, to where I can literally forward, put that into my computer and forward it to the insurance company.
Chris,
It's on there now.
it's on there, but can it be forwarded?
Sure.
Yeah.
So the reason, okay, I didn't realize that, because the reason we suggest you call us and have us forward it is it's usually about 30 or 40 pages and it's all color. And if you get it and print it out, it costs you where you're paying your agent. So you just want to send it to the agent.
Yeah, that's what I want.
That's what they get paid for. But I didn't know you could send it from the.
You can, all you have to do is download the file and then just forward, just email the file.
That'll save 640 phone calls a year.
Can I ask a question? Sure. And this is probably ridiculous. Is there any way that we could have somebody on our staff certified to do this kind of thing, like the wind mitigation?
I suppose it's rather intricate. It used to be almost anybody that took a short course could qualify, but they, of course, like everything else, the lobbyists made it change. And usually it's because of the size of ours now, you have to work under the license of a GC. So it's not going to work for us. The reason I know that is my son used to do it. And so now it has to be under the license of a GC. General contract. Sorry.
You need a vote on that motion or the?
okay, yeah, we need a vote.
Pam made the motion.
Pam made a motion.
I second
Dick
it, John.
Thanks, Dick.
Can we go by anybody opposing? Sure. No opposed? Alright. Next will be manager report.
Okay, we're covered just about everything other than, of course, we pressure washed the common area sidewalk, which really needed it more than you think of, and got a lot of positive comments on it. So that's been done. Again, in the house, mostly done. To speed up the project, we paid a little bit overtime to Edward over the weekends, but I think we got everything done for under $500 time. Of course, he spent 2 weeks of regular time doing it too. But now that we know what's there, we've got the equipment to do it and how to do it, we'll probably be able to keep better shape of the sidewalk. Secondarily, we talked about the newsletter, but it's complete. And the test, upper flooring test, we've talked about again. The test flooring has been, is to be installed, has been measured, and the flooring has been ordered. That's my old Massachusetts going through ordered. And then finally, there have been 259 repairs or requests handled since last month's report.
How long is that floor test going to run? Length of time?
From the last report? I mean,
No, how long will the floor test be taking place? They're gonna put it in.
Put it in.
And then we're gonna, how long are they gonna run it?
Well, I think that, let's see, there's 431 downstairs people that are gonna go through that unit. And so, no, you gotta talk to the building chair. I don't know, that's a good question. That is a real good question.
I hadn't thought about it this way.
Have the cloggers already been hired for upstairs? Have the cloggers already been hired for upstairs?
The cloggers, yeah. Bring in the Irish
I
group.
gotta bring my tap dance here.
Yeah,
I thought the last school. The last school, talking about that, being the responsibility of that storeroom. Is that how we did it, or?
Now, this is another company that's putting it in, putting like, I think, 2 layers of sound and glue. And he says that should suffice.
Did he pay for this?
they don't.
They still,
Georgia Carp is paying for everything. Yeah. One room.
And are they gonna take it out?
Building chair is.
I'm looking for volunteers.
Now we know why.
Okay, nothing else there. Let's go on to committee reports.
We had those
We've
really,
already had those.
yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Don't eat at the pool.
Okay, director's comments.
No.
All right. Anybody? Nobody there?
No.
Owner's comments.
I have a question.
Okay.
On the sidewalk, power wash. I had noticed that, cause I live at 532 and pool 5, around pool 5, going that way, it kind of stopped. Is that now taken care of?
You mean he didn't go all the way around?
Nope.
Well, I'll check it. Sure.
Thank you.
Our intention is to do all common areas.
Right, that's my thought. And then, there's a sign by the, I don't know, it's the crooked tree, is all I know. There's a sign that's been like, it's kind of been like lopsided.
34th Street sign. Same.
Yes, it's hanging. It's not like-
34th Street.
The
Right,
sign,
that point
the
is-
left side is kind of droopy.
That point is 34th Street.
On our property.
Yeah,
Yeah,
by the crooked tree.
by the crooked tree.
Oh, okay.
It's been like that for a couple weeks, isn't it? I just thought.
I don't know.
Nobody's fixed it yet.
Okay, well, we'll look for it. Take care. Thank you.
Anybody else? Owner? Okay. I have a motion.
Set the next meeting, please, Mr. Chair, Mr. President.
Good calendar?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, that'll be here we go. Now the April, okay, April.
April 5th and April.
No,
18th.
5th will be too soon.
12th.
12th. April 2nd Tuesday will be April 12th at 10 a.m.
For the workshop, right?
4/12 is the workshop. And 4/18 will be the board of directors meeting, 2 o'clock here.
That's it, right after Easter. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, well.
Well, that's the time we normally have it.
Should
be okay.
So 4/12 and 4/18. 4/12 at 10 a.m. at the office or Zoom. 4/18 here at 2.
Here. Here.
Aquí.
We have a motion for adjournment.
I so
First, second. Third. Any opposed? All right, thank you.
Thank you all for staying.
I didn't know it.